Welcome to this month's shop walk around. We are going to go over some of the projects that's going on over here at Ironworks. We got Roger standing next to the number 6 Legacy Series Chevelle with the 7 chassis sitting right here. Roger, let us know where we're at with this project.
So we are going to mate the body that we have onto the powder coated number 7 chassis. Basically the chassis will just change numbers in our system. So we can proceed with getting this body welded to the chassis, getting the firewall in it, getting the mini tubs in it, getting basically all the fabrication on the body done on one car to move this one forward. We're considering potentially displaying the car as a project at SEMA. So we've got some ideas on a way that we may do that to show what's different about the Unibody chassis from Roadster Shop, to show some of the other stuff that goes with that. And so we're just looking to join that, and then we're going to put this chassis in storage for a little while.
Okay. And if anyone is interested in more of a long verbiage and talking about this car and the chassis, we just uploaded a new upload just recently, a couple days ago. Not sure when this is going to air, but if you go back into our channel previously, you'll see the update on the Legacy Series 6 and 7 chassis, and it'll give you all the information about it.
And now we do have these chassis for sale on our website.
Yep.
They're $45,000. They're meant to use, basically attain what we've done here with your car, where you get the independent front suspension, independent rear suspension, the narrow track with independent rear suspension.
Let's show the chassis. We've got it right here, so let's show it.
The GM differential that's in the middle, so that it's quieter. You basically if this car was a LT4 10-speed, this would be a ZL1 Camaro. The differential's out of a ZL1. Everything else that's set in it is meant to go there. We will put we have a firewall that goes with it that will be set up for manual or automatic transmission. A lot of things like that. And
those are the wheel tubs that come with the
the wheel tubs here. The only thing we've done is just scribe them to where it meets the wheel tub, overlays the stock outer wheelhouse. And so it would go in and spot weld to the other wheel tub, and then this spot welds to the frame.
And I see Marcus has already started prepping this chassis.
Yeah, so the edges of the chassis will set on this ledge, and this will be the spot welded parts. And so we can just come in and clean up those spot welded parts from the old flange of the rocker, and that will set on there, and then we'll make a new threshold plate. There's just a few things that we want to get going on designing to get for this chassis to get the system back as fluid as we had on the body on chassis cars.
So not too much has happened since the Legacy chassis update that we just made recently, but at least we're moving ahead on it.
Yeah, so we've been doing some other changes. We've developed a power steering pump that kind of fixes the flaw with the SpeedTech chassis. It really becomes a big issue on the LT cars with no cam, because they idle at such a low number, and the rack that SpeedTech uses needs such a high volume. And just none of the pumps and pulleys that you would find were able to either create enough flow or pressure at the bottom, but not blow up at redline. And so we've been able to get with the company and develop a new pump that we've been getting, because the valving was exceptional on the freeway, but at slow speeds with 285 front tires, things were sticky.
Always evolving.
And so we developed a new pump to kind of go through that. Rob's car was filmed for the smoking tire event down in LA. And so it was down there for a week or two. We're getting ready to do the Wide Open Rallies event in Northern California. That's a kind of a more spirited driving road tour. Technically not done by classic cars. And so we've kind of gone through some motions to get them to let us run our classic cars with their supercars. And so we're going to go up with a few cars and participate in that rally here next month. And so we've been prepping that. Glenn's Chevelle was here for its 5,000 mile tune-up, because it's just got 5,000 miles on it, just needs to be checked over. And so we've been kind of going through some of those things. And yeah.
And just to be clear, on this rally, you're talking about taking a couple cars, but more importantly, you're talking about taking a couple Legacy Series Chevelles.
Yes, we're talking about taking Glenn's Chevelle, and there's 2 or 3 other Chevelles that we're trying to decide which ones we're going to take.
Getting those cars out to do what they've been developed to do.
Yeah, and not just drive on the highway for 300 miles through Wyoming. Although that's fun, and to sightsee, these guys have picked a a venue where they've gone through and picked roads in Northern California that go from Red Bluff to Fort Bragg to Santa Rosa. A lot of those things that take backcountry roads that are well paved that the guy said he found when he was bicycle racing.
Nice.
And so he's doing a lot of road biking and found these very nice smooth roads that are nice and curvy and fun. And so we're going to go participate in some of those things with the Legacy Series Chevelles.
Okay, so look for an update coming soon on this chassis underneath that car, and we'll show you guys that. Let's go over to the 67 real quick. I know you got your eye over there, but we'll go to that one in a second. Let's go to the 67.
Save the best for last, right?
Let's continue on the Chevelle theme.
All right, so here we got holders, waiting on inner fenders so we can finalize ride height. We're hoping to be able to nail ride height at this height. But we always order shocks with the ride height so that the shock is at the ideal location and not just overly compressed or not enough droop.
So currently right now it's on ride sticks.
Currently now it's been on ride sticks so that we, based on numbers of what we hope, there's a shock that is at that length that's available because we're going to put custom valve JRIs on it. And so we will order the shocks for that. Based on this, we just want to make sure that this is tight and we don't want to repaint things and tweak things and trying to make it where the fenders bolt right in to maintain this ride height because it looks pretty good. Roger just got us the shifter that he wanted to use for the inside, and so we're getting that set up in the car and so we can run the cable linkage for that. And really we just cut up the back seat to trim it around the wheel tubs and do those things. And then we'll come in and finish everything else underneath the dash. Once we have his shifter mounted in the car, we're going to use one of our Legacy Series consoles, and we will trim it up to fit this trans tunnel. We'll probably scan the trans tunnel, compare it to ours, and then we'll define trim lines on the new one to set on this one. And get ready to start doing some road testing for this thing.
All right, so Roger's car, Holder's Chevelle is running.
It is running.
Hardy motor with that big ol' Whipple supercharger is running. We heard it in the last video. Sounds great. We're just waiting on a lot of little miscellaneous things to complete the car.
Yes.
Okay, and just to reiterate, we have 66 to 67 fender wells that are on their way. You can pre-order them now.
Yes.
Everyone's been asking about them, and now they're available on the website.
They're available on the website for pre-order. We may have sold 50 or 60% of the first allotment already.
Okay. And
so I believe there's 5. We did 10 in the first batch, and I believe that there's 5 or 6 that are already spoken for and paid for. And so I know we sold another set this morning. So
cool.
Just trying to get those things together, and we'll test these on these cars and then get them sent out to the buyers of the pre-ordered inner fenders. Once that's good, then we'll start the process of doing some more.
So the current update, 66 to 67 inner fender wells are now available on the website. Again, they're coming, but they're pre-order. And then we also have changed the 70-72 to extend to a 68 through 72.
Well, we had a gentleman call from, I think, middle of Iowa that swore they would fit. He asked for a little bit of a discount to try it, and he proved me wrong that they fit in the car.
Well, great.
So he says they fit in the car, showed me pictures of how they fit in the car, was very pleased with everything on his Roadster Shop chassis, and I've always thought they were different, but who knows?
Well, at least then he helped everyone else out because people have been asking for him.
Yes, so people have been asking. So
68 through 72, the inner fender wells are slated to work on all those.
So now all we can hear from are the 64 and 65 Chevelle guys that want to complain that they don't have inner fenders.
And it really just comes down to demand. You know, if there's enough demand, not just one guy saying everyone would want it, but real true demand. Because obviously you have to make X amount of them to make it worth it.
Because the molds are huge.
Yeah.
And you have to do a pair, and you have to machine the pair, and it's just the molds are what are super expensive to produce these inner fenders to get to that point.
So if you are a 64, 65 owner, definitely reach out, emphasize how much you're interested in them, and if there's enough, then we'll go that direction.
Yes.
Okay. I know you really want to show what's on the lift over here. We're going to go real quickly show this off because we do have our other videographer in-house right now, Edgar. He's getting ready to shoot a really nice video on this one. So let's just go real quickly through it since we're going to have a good video, real high cinematic.
Well, this will give you a good sneak peek of everything that's coming in the big video. as you can see, everything on the bottom side of this car is ridiculous. The rear differential has been completely polished. All this stuff's been Cerakoted in these pockets. The links have been Cerakoted and polished inside. You can see how shiny the bottom of the frame, the bottom of the body is. The shocks from JRI that were custom made with custom made sleeves. You can see probably one of the only chrome transmission cross members in existence. I don't know. It's chrome transmission billet cross member.
And you can't really see this in the camera, but that's all Cerakoted.
This is all Cerakoted inside here.
Yeah.
To match the Cerakote that's on here, to match the Cerakote that's on the bottom of these. And if you look at the bottom of these, you'll see that that's the bottom of the running board. And so you can see all these different parts. You can see this outer piece that was made to be separate so it could be painted body color, while this billet aluminum running board, because this, listen, is metal and not rubber, but it was machined to look perfect right here as the rubber ended at this point. And so as you go forward, you can just see how perfect everything is everywhere.
So this pretty much is a prime example of, if you can dream it, you guys are able to conquer it.
We can do whatever you want. So the problem is whether you really want to have a show car, because you're constantly wiping them down. You're constantly doing this. And this is a longtime customer of ours car who wanted to participate in this venue. And a couple weeks ago, we were crowned with Good Guys' West Coast de Elegance Award, which is a top 12 award for 2025. And so we participated in that, and we're able to come home with the top 12 for the year already. But it just shows that there's so many different ways to enjoy cars. Whether you want to go through the process and design, build, and enjoy the process of building ridiculousness, or whether you want to build a Chevelle to drive. It just shows the versatility of everything that you can do in cars and what we do.
So keep an eye out. We're going to have a really nice video on this 35 Chevy here coming soon. Let's jump over to, what's that, 73 K5?
No, I was going to show you the Corvette out back that we did a little work on.
All right, let's go check out the Corvette.
So here we have Steve's Corvette that was purchased at auction. And as anybody who's had one of these Corvettes knows, there's just no room in them. The car had very few miles on it when it was at auction. They got it home and they're like, man, this thing kind of sucks to drive. And so we've gone through and sorted this car for him, changed spring rates, changed alignment settings, retuned the engine because it was terrible. Just been working on the odds and ends. And as you can see, it's dirty. We've been driving it. We put new tires on it because they were 7 years old. We've just been going through a bunch of odds and ends on the car to get this car sorted to be driven and comfortable and fun to drive. And so this is just something that we do from time to time, of just getting things sorted, because so many cars just are never properly finished.
Okay, so tell me again.
So it's just an LS2 with a 4L65, I believe it is, 4-speed. There was no neutral safety switch in the car. There's just a bunch of things that are not right. It's not as bad as it could be, but you can see there's different coolant leaks, and you can see the car's been, I don't know if those are the leaks from the radiator or if it's been driven in the rain. I'm guessing it's leaks from the radiator. And so there's just things like that that we've been dealing with that are it's just a simple, not completed car. So we just kind of go through this where some other person left off and get the car physically dialed to go through that process.
Nice.
So here we got the Ford truck. Haven't done a whole lot to it. We secured some seats from the junkyard from a Ford, because a lot of people just think it should be a Ford and a Ford. And the seats have been a little bit more difficult to put the Ford seats in a Ford than it was to put the Chevy seats in a Chevy. Just the shapes of the floors, just a lot of that stuff that's gone on. And so we have been on a little bit of a hiatus on this one to focus on getting the other one done for the body shop to get that thing out of here. We still don't have the hoods yet from our powder coater, because I'm not sure what he's holding on to them for. But once we get those back, this one will be pretty much ready to go to the body shop. We probably have a few holes in the firewall to fill, and we'll be done with this. But this one doesn't have an owner yet, so we're just kind of working on it in our spare time. Here we have the 1987 Chevrolet Crew Cab 4-wheel drive with GM seats in it now. We're working on getting everything in the interior mocked up. As you can see, there's quite a bit of room in these trucks now. We put the 60-40 bench, so if you've got a bunch of kids, you can put them in here with you as well. The back seats fold up, so you can put your dog back there or let them sit on there if they're a small dog. Just quite a lot of room in these things for fun. So these GM seats, we got them mounted in here from a late model truck. These are just non-power seats, so we don't have to deal with all of that stuff. And as you can see, for a 6'6" guy, this thing's pretty dang comfortable.
Nice.
So we have a few more things to build, like the air intake tube, getting the radiator mounted. We had to shift it over a little bit just to clear the RS4 steering box. On here, you can see we have the BBT billet firewall cover panel. Firewall's been smoothed up. We're gonna put the Tesla brake booster and stuff on it that we got from Troy at Intech Auto. And so we got things like that. The engine's on here with the billet coil covers. The engine comes from Don Hardy, which is an L8P that they ran with a carburetor on the dyno just to break it in, and it made like 550 foot-pounds of torque. So it should be a fun little just stump pulling big truck. So we have all the inner fenders clearance to clear the shock towers. It's got mock-up tires on it for now, just to set on here that we had with the method wheels, just because the customer wanted to make something to look a little bit more off-roady, that kind of deal. So you can see it's got the amp steps on it. It's got the short bed. Everything else kind of looking good. So awesome. Here's Steve's LS Swap K5 Blazer. So it's kind of gotten a little out of hand from an LS Swap, like they all do. So this is why when you call a shop and you say, how much for an LS Swap, everybody gets so, well, it kind of depends. Because now we've powder coated the frame. We put crossover steering in it. It's got a Tesla brake booster. It's got the billet firewall panel from Troy. It's got an LT1. We just got done making the top mount for the radiator to go in here. And just getting all the wiring and everything installed in the truck for the final time. Inner fenders are going to get body worked and painted just to be a little nicer black. We're probably going to do something with this core support as well. This is exterior billet trim that we made because stock, there's an ugly screw right here that we got rid of, and we made these things the proper length. So everyone's going to ask, how much is this trim? And then I'm going to respond to you, and then you ghost me in the email. This is billet trim that we had machined to fit the truck because of the deficiencies in the way probably the stock stuff fit, let alone the aftermarket stuff fit. So we've made every single one of these pieces except for the fender well moldings. This is all just black pinstripe tape. And then in the corner, we're having these decals vinyl cut to the CNC pattern to fit in there. But as you can see, the trim just looks straighter. It's longer and fits the way it should. It's tapered to look appropriate, and it just fits right. And so we've gotten all of that onto the car, just waiting for everything to kind of get set. I'm not sure if this is glued on for the final time with trim tape or not. Mikey says it's not. And so we're just trying to get the rest of everything else set up in the car. Or is it a truck? I don't know.
Kind of a truck.
That's a good question. So here is Delesh's Mercedes. There is Delesh's Mercedes. So you can see all the parts that have come off the car that we're getting ready to get detailed and coated and get all those things together. And you can see the car that's in its very original state. You can see the parts and pieces that we made to strengthen the floor, strengthen the interior. You can see the firewall that's moved back. You can see the hinges that are on it. You can see everything else that's kind of landed on the car. We're getting all the seams that were hard to reach, just all the holes that we don't need. getting ready to flip the car over on its side, and so we can access those things a little bit easier. Stu's made a mount to attach the front of the car to our rotisserie, and I'm getting ready to get this thing ready to go to the body shop.
This thing is stripped down. Definitely.
There's not a whole lot there.
No. Hey, Stu.
Yes, sir.
Good job.
Marcus wants one of those. Good job, Marcus.
So we actually have a video on this car that we haven't posted yet. Just kind of it's in the pipeline, but a lot of people might know what that car is, but you guys just wait.
Or they're just not old enough.
And yeah, so there's some history about that car. It's a Nova. There is a video that we did shoot, and it will be up at some point here. So stay tuned.
Maybe for those who weren't watching before, well, we can show the lower valence for the Mercedes. That's the rear lower valence, so it doesn't get messed up. And here you can see a tube chassis. You can see it better on the other side. Tube chassis, transaxled, meaning the transmission is in the rear. 66 Nova. That was in the works. I think the project came to a stop in 2008.
Yeah, history. For the people that have been around for a long time, which again, like I said, there's a video that we'll be posting.
For those of you that actually know what the forums are.
Yeah, forums.
Forum
days.
They don't have forums anymore.
They do. They're just not as active as they used to be. More
close.
Facebook groups now.
So here's Darrell's Nova. So we are getting it torn down to get the body itself into epoxy primer as we wait for the hood to be made in carbon and the front fenders and just getting all the parts you can't access. So when the Mercedes comes off the rotisserie, this one will go on the rotisserie to finish welding up the bottom, sealing the bottom, getting the whole car blasted and into epoxy primer. You gotta pull the door. So, as you can see, we've put the windshield motor, the roll-up window motor in there for the dual track Mustang setup, so that it makes this window, even though this door skin is just screwed on, it makes this window super solid to delete the vent windows. This is a prototype for the Novas that we're doing on a one-off car, but this is an option we're looking at on the Legacy Series cars to go to this power window motor setup in the new Chevelles to make the windows more stable. So when you shut the door, even after you spend tons of time adjusting it, it still sounds like there's a bunch of spare change in the window.
Since the front clip is off this car, we've never had it at this state on our shop walkarounds. Why don't you give us a little bit of details on the chassis and suspension?
So this is a Roadster shop unibody chassis that's been welded into the rockers, joined with the entire rest of the car. So it's now a unibody car. Transmission mounts, floor mounts, all that stuff is integral to the chassis and the floor. Some of this we've been doing this concept for a while, but this is also kind of the basis of our unibody chassis that are in the Chevelles. So we wanted to get the seats down low, so we cut the frame section for the Roadster shop chassis out, ran the exhaust down the middle, and worked on getting all of that stuff kind of set up. So now our intention is to get this on the rotisserie, get everything cleaned up, and start getting everything underneath the car prepped to start finishing things out. And then once everything is done with the inner fender, with the front fenders, the carbon hood, then we will finalize the door skins and gap those to the epoxy primered car. So basically just so we can keep everything going while we wait on the process of the carbon fiber.
So the unibody theory, you've been dreaming for a long time. Not just dreaming, but you've been applying to some of the other long time builds.
As you look, you can see the same concept in this Nova from 2007, 2008. Yeah. That's how you make more room in the car, is to get rid of body mounts, to get rid of those things and lower the car. Yeah. And this is where you can take a car like a Nova and you can put a guy like me into one of these cars. I have to get in on that side, but it allows you to lower the floorboard to the bottom of the car, allows you to create a bunch of room to sit in the car. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of room in here. From the top of my head from those things. And so we've been kind of unibodying cars for quite a long time just to gain space, stance, and get rid of things that you don't necessarily need. Plus, it makes the cars quieter.
And real quick, when was the last time this car was touched?
Whew. Probably before the guy got screwed with a guy who said he was going to work on it and didn't. And then, as you can see, it sat in a storage unit at the beach in bare metal for many, many years.
And you prior to now having it in your facility, the last time it was in your facility was back when?
2008.
Yeah.
So it's been long gone. And I mean, I know that it sat in a storage unit. I tried to buy it back 5 years ago. And then it kind of fell back in my lap last year.
Yeah, so like we said, we have another video. We shot it actually months ago, and I just kind of been using it as one
someday.
Well, to plug in if we fell short on something else, but we've been huffing and puffing, so
yes,
it hasn't gone into the pipeline. So
yeah, so Darrell's Nova's moving along, kind of waiting on some things on Leo's, and we have a new guy that's been working here, Brandon. There's Brandon, and so he's working on floor panels in the truck, trying to learn some fabrication skills to just get this truck that's on a RS4 chassis, get all the panels replaced, and kind of put this into the same pipeline as the other trucks. So
we're over here checking out your work. All right. And just because, we'll talk about this one real quick, does not have an owner.
It does not have an owner. It's on an RS4 chassis with a Godzilla motor with a 10-speed. And my intention is just to use these projects like this to take a guy that's wanting to get into the trade and wanting to use some of those things to teach them how to do stuff properly. Sometimes you just can't start them out on the best project in the shop on day one. And so some of this stuff just kind of works out to replace the panels, let them learn how that stuff goes, and kind of get their feet wet going through here. So we've got floor panels to replace, transmission tunnel to clear, roof skin to replace, and here sometime soon we'll start getting it all paint stripped and blasted so that we can get everything else. As you can see, we put new fenders on it, we put a new core support in it, put a new bed on it, because the old bed was hammered, and I'm just basically getting everything to sit squarely on the body for now.
This is an RS4 chassis. What are we talking for engine and trans?
Godzilla, Ford Godzilla engine with a 10R140 transmission.
Okay. So
Thanks, Brandon.
All right, so looks like that is it for our walk around this month. And Roger, like always, if someone wants to get a hold of you, they can email you. You have an inquiry page on the website that's a little bit of a questionnaire so you can better understand what their possible clients looking to do with the project. And we're gonna see you on that road rally and hopefully with some other stuff here soon. So
yeah, we're looking forward to getting holders on the road, getting the Blazer on the road, and getting this one to the body shop and start focusing on a few other projects we have going. So,
okay. Well, we appreciate everyone that's been following along with all these car projects and following us on YouTube and liking and subscribing and all the good stuff. So we won't tell you to do that. You just, if you like it, then do it and follow along with us. Roger, thanks again for taking the time walking around the shop this month. We'll see you on the next one. Thank you.
Thank you very much.